Wow, it's autumn 2019. GoPro's announced its Hero 8. It's got 4K 120, it's got super slow motion, 1080p, 480 frames a second. It's got a GP2 chip. Oh. No, it hasn't got any of that stuff. Oh, what has it got then? Okay, so joking aside, GoPro's released its new camera, the upgrade to the Hero 7, the Hero 8 Black, and it has actually got some pretty significant changes to it, both in terms of its overall physical design and form factor, and also the software that's running it. And they've managed to get quite a bit more out of this camera, and I'm going to tell you all about it coming right up. So the big change to the camera physically is that it's got integrated mounting feet now that flip out. So this is a much better design than previously, where you had to have an external case. They've also swapped the battery and SD card door over to the side of the camera rather than on the bottom, allowing you to get a battery in and out or an SD card whilst you're using the camera. So if it's, for example, on a chesty, you don't have to remove it from whatever you've got it mounted to actually replace the battery or SD card, which is a big one. The next thing is that it's actually supposedly 14% lighter. The form factor, I think it's slightly larger than the Hero 7, but only just. And obviously once you take into the fact it doesn't have a cage around it or a case, then it's probably around the same. The screen size on the back has stayed the same, and there's no front colour screen that people thought might come in response to the Osmo Action. Now there's also a change to the lens of the camera. It used to be one that could be taken on and off. You just had to twist it and you could easily replace the lens. They've now integrated it into the camera. So this has got pros and cons to it. The pro is that the lens should fog up a lot less than it did on older models. Obviously there's integration there now, so there's no gap and no way for moisture to get in so easily. Obviously the big con is that you can no longer replace a cracked lens easily. GoPro is saying you've got to send it into them to get it fixed. The other change, which is a pretty minor one, is that they've got new batteries with blue on the underside of them. Apparently you can still use the old batteries, they're still fully compatible, but the blue batteries apparently give a little bit of extra battery life and supposedly are better in some way. The only thing they're saying is with the old batteries, the new HyperSmooth may not work as well. Whether this is just to get you to buy new batteries, I'm not sure, but it'll be interesting to test out once I've got a unit in my hands. And the second thing I wanted to talk about is HyperSmooth 2.0, which is GoPro's latest stabilisation for the camera. And this builds upon HyperSmooth that came in the Hero 7. Essentially, the big one is that it's available in all modes and all frame rates. So having HyperSmooth in all frame rates is a massive improvement from the Hero 7. As you can see in this clip from Chris Rogers, you can now film at 2.7K at 120 frames a second and get really smooth footage, which in his comparison there, it makes a big difference. And I know some of my friends use GoPros all the time for their mountain biking YouTube channels, and having the ability to have slow-mo and stabilized footage all in one shot is a massive benefit. And it also has different levels, so you've got HyperSmooth on, which crops in 10%. You've got HyperSmooth high, which is available in some modes and still crops in 10%, so you're not really losing anything in terms of crop. And then you've also got HyperSmooth Boost mode, which crops in quite a bit. I think it's about 25%, but it does give noticeably smoother footage. And it's good to have that extra ability to smooth out your footage without the need for a gimbal. I have seen a couple of reviews that show it and the differences between them, and there is noticeable difference. I have noticed that on a number of videos where they've shown it in low light situations, you still get the jitters that you get from any kind of electronically stabilized camera. So it's not perfect, but again, it is a upgrade. The next thing I wanted to talk about was Time Warp 2.0. Now, this is been improved in 3 ways. Firstly, you've now got Pro Tunes available in this mode, so you can adjust all your settings just how you want them, and that is a big benefit for people. It's not all on auto settings and blowing out your skies and darkening your shadows too much. The other thing that it's saying they can now do is automatic speed ramping for the hyperlapse and time lapse. So it'll be interesting to see how this works and whether it's really good or not, or if it's kind of a bit hit and miss. But again, for beginners, it's a good feature to have. And the third thing is that they've got a button on the touchscreen on the back that you can tap to go back to real-time speed. So midway through a hyperlapse, you can tap on the screen, it goes to real-time speed, and then you tap again and it speeds up. Again, it's just part of the overall improved user interface of the camera, really. Talking about user interface, there's a few things that they've improved. So you can now get grid lines on the back of the camera, which helps with framing. It's a simple thing, but a good addition. You've now got slightly more vivid and vibrant colour generally in the automatic modes. There's also presets, which is something that we saw on the Osmo Action earlier this year. So essentially it's giving you the ability to set presets for a particular sport or situation. So mountain biking, for example, you may want a particular frame rate, you may want a particular resolution. This just allows you to set up custom presets that you can go back to quickly with a couple of taps on the screen, rather than having to go deep into the menus and fiddle around with all the different settings each time you want to change it. It's a really good thing to have. I don't know why they haven't had it on previous versions of the camera, to be honest, but yeah, it's a great upgrade. Also, there's custom buttons or custom on-screen shortcuts. Again, it's just simplifying the usability of the camera, which can only be a good thing. In terms of photo upgrades, they've included live burst photos, so it records 1.5 seconds before and after you tap it, and essentially it's recording video, but then you can take out a still image from that video, I think. So similar to an iPhone, really, where you've got like live photos. And yeah, again, it's really useful because in high intensity action, you can just pick that perfect moment that you want to get. The other thing that they've got is super photos have been upgraded, so the HDR is better. And also there's going to be hopefully less ghosting. So the other big thing that they've announced is the mods. These are essentially various accessories that you can buy at an extra cost for the camera. So it has a media mod, which is a case that comes with it, which includes a 3.5mm audio jack and also an HDMI port and USB-C. And this is coming in at a cost of about $79.99, I think, dollars and pounds. So it's quite expensive. The other one that they've got is a light mod that goes on the side. The medium mod comes with it's essentially got 2 cold shoes, so one on the top, one on the side. You can add on the light mod and also a flip up screen accessory, which is also $79.99. I think the light is about $49.99. They're kind of touting this at vloggers, which I can see why they're doing that because it's a big market. The media mod also includes a shotgun mic. How good that will be compared to a fully fledged microphone that you would add on externally, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's interesting that they're going in this direction. They're trying to widen their market from just action sports to more like YouTubers and things like that. These accessories aren't available until I think December, and you can't pre-order them yet on GoPro's website. So yeah, it's nice that they've kind of announced them, but it's a bit annoying that we've got to wait another 2 months to see what they're actually like. They've said that they've got an improved microphone on the front of the camera, and the overall sound quality is improved. The audio, I've watched a couple of people's reviews, and DC Rainmaker and also the tech chap Tom on his channel showed a side-by-side of the Hero 7 and Hero 8. I couldn't really tell from just watching them a great deal of difference. It did seem like the Hero 8, when you're vlogging, for example, on Tom's channel, he sounded a little bit better. I think the sound was slightly fuller and a little bit less kind of tinny, a little bit less in the high tones, but yeah, it's quite hard to pick up really big differences, so it'll be good to test that out once I get a unit in my hands. I've pre-ordered the camera, so it should be coming in a couple of weeks' time. I'm going to do a full review on the camera once I've got it, take it mountain biking, take it snowboarding, take it running, just do as many things as I can with it, chuck it in the swimming pool, see how good it is. So the camera is still waterproof down to 10 meters or 33 feet. And in terms of the ruggedness of those new feet that I talked about earlier, it's I think they're made of metal, and you can, if you do break them or snap them or bend them, they are easy to screw on and off, so you can buy new ones. I've seen I think on GoPro's website they're selling the new ones for $19.99. Now in terms of other accessories, one thing that I think people were a bit worried about was the new integrated lens. How can you fit ND filters to the camera? I saw on Kinotika Dave's channel some Polar Pro filters. I'll put up a clip that shows them now, and these essentially have a system where it clips onto the camera and then uses magnets to hold it in place. So there are workarounds, and I think there will be lots of other filter manufacturers already making those different types of filters that will clip on. But yeah, Polar Pro seem to have partnered with GoPro initially, and I think you can buy a set of them for about $59.99 in dollars, so probably similar amount in pounds. The other thing I noticed on Tom the Tech Chap's channel, he did a low light comparison between the Hero 7 and Hero 8, which I'm going to put up now. It doesn't seem like there's a huge difference, and that's mainly because the camera sensor is still essentially the same. So it's a 12 megapixel sensor that was in the Hero 7. A lot of the updates have come through software updates, so getting more from that GP1 chip that they use in the processor. I did notice though in this clip that the flaring on the light behind him looks better on the Hero 8, there's less flare, and when he walks into the darker parts of the scene, it does seem like there's slightly better low light performance, but it'll be interesting to test that out once I get one. Okay, so first thoughts on the GoPro Hero 8 before I've got one in my hands are that it looks like it's going to be a great camera. I think in terms of pricing, GoPro have got it about right. It's going to be £379.99 and $399 and $429 in euros. So the price of the Hero 7 is going to drop by a little bit to $329. So I think they're making it a pretty easy decision for people to buy the Hero 8 over the Hero 7 if they're looking to get a GoPro. In terms of people upgrading, I'm not sure there's enough to make people upgrade straight away from a Hero 7. It really depends if you need the stabilization at the higher frame rates. I think that's the big one for me, and obviously just the improved user interface and the other little upgrades that they've put in the camera, and the fact you don't have to use a case to mount it anymore, which was always a complete pain to get the battery and the SD card in and out whilst you had it in the case. But yeah, overall I think it's a great camera. I look forward to testing it fully once I get it. It's coming out on the 15th of October, so hopefully I should have it a few days after that and I can get a review out pretty quickly. I think it will be interesting to see how DJI reacts to GoPro in terms of the Osmo Pocket 2, which is due to be released I think in November, and obviously the Osmo Action, the next generation of that camera, should be released probably early next year or maybe middle of next year. So I think GoPro are going to have some tough competition from DJI in the future, and I'm not sure that they've done enough with this camera to stave off that competition, to be honest, but it is a big improvement overall. I think there's lots of little things that add up to a sizable improvement, and yeah, if you do want to pre-order the camera, check out the links in the description. I've put links to both Amazon and GoPro's website. If you do purchase it through Amazon, it helps the channel, helps me a little bit. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, click the bell for notifications. I'm a new channel, so that all helps me. And I've also done a video on the GoPro Max, the new 360 camera that they've just announced. And I've also pre-ordered that camera, so that will be another review that I'll be doing in the near future. So if you want to see either of those reviews, subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.